Welcome back to Bridging the Gap. Today we're in our studio and we're going to have a topic today that doesn't necessarily pertain to insurance coverage. We're going to actually talk about becoming or being an insurance agent. And so I've asked Morgan Wilson, our dental and vision agent, to join us today because I want her to share her journey as an insurance agent at such a young age. Morgan graduated from high school 2 years ago and from West Nassau High School. Go Warriors. And we were able to snag her up. She was volunteering with us at some of our events and then found interest in our office and came in and was kind of like an office assistant for us. And through that process, as she was applying for colleges, she decided she wanted to work here and become an agent. So today I'm going to let, from Morgan's perspective, I want you to share with our listeners and our viewers some things about your journey to become an insurance agent. So let's start with what were you thinking you wanted to be when you were in high school? I mean, I know that becoming an insurance agent is not a popular degree or a choice that high school seniors are making this day.
So in high school, I actually thought I was going to be a licensed clinical social worker. That's super far from insurance agent.
Well, you kind of are.
Kind of, yeah. I still get to help people.
Yes.
And so that's actually one of my favorite parts of this job. But honestly, with volunteering with you guys, I saw that this company itself is different than most places would be. And so I was like, oh, I really like these people. I really like the environment. It's super positive. And I came to you and asked if I could have a job. And I started as a receptionist. And I really wanted to know the lingo. And when people called and asked, I wanted to grow in my position and also be able to answer some questions if I could. So I decided to get my license. And right after graduating, I believe it was a few months after I graduated and turned 18, because that's a requirement.
Right.
I decided to become an agent, and that's really how it all started.
Yeah, so we were very fortunate. We knew you outside of work, and we needed volunteers, and it feels like eons ago that we used to do those events, and you were volunteering. But even during those sessions of volunteering and the events that we did, you always exemplified qualities of a good leader and of something that we want in our office. The customer service is definitely one of the top priorities. And the way you would interact with people that were there at the event. Tell us a little bit about your personal experience, maybe some things that you did prior to volunteering with our insurance office at events. Like, what do you think high school offered you or provided opportunities for you? What events or what clubs or what things did you participate in that you feel kind of set the stage for where you were going after high school?
I would say quite a few things that set the stage for where I was going after high school. One was mainly cheer. I did that all the way growing up and until about my junior year. It gave me people skills, the ability to communicate with others. We did cheer camps where we would have the kids come, and for the day we would train them and teach them a routine.
Sure.
And that in itself was just learning how much I liked to help others and just communicate with others. And then I also was in National Honor Society and Beta Club. We did a lot of things with that program. Again, that's socializing. It's you have to meet a different requirement to be in those clubs and just have a different standard in your grades and how you act in school. And the same thing was with cheer. We had a lot of standards with our grades and how we acted with others and even presented ourselves outside of inside of school. So I think that really taught me a professional aspect coming into the workforce, being able to be professional in how my attire and also how I communicated with other people.
You know, those are all great points. I don't know if any of our listeners or viewers were at the scholarship award ceremony last Friday over at West Nassau, but when we had applicants come in and we found out what day that event was going to take place, I said, I want Morgan to be the one to present the awards. And she was like, you want me to do it? And I was like, yes, I want you to do it. And the reason, I have to be honest and say how proud I was, not only of the ability to have someone there to give away their awards and the fact that you graduated from West Nassau only 2 years ago. It was more of a promotion for who you are and what West Nassau High School teachers, faculty, administration built in your class when it comes to leadership qualities, the different clubs that they offer, the fact that you learned teamwork. That is a main component this day and time. Outside of even your personal life, it rolls over into professional. And I think you've seen a lot of times in our office where we've had to function as a team.
Yes.
There are no I's in
Correct.
the word team. And so when we were there last Friday and you come walking in your business suit and your boss shoes, it was a very, I'm not your mom, but it was a proud mama moment for me because I'm like, she's mine. Like that's part of my business. And it was so good as a business owner to be so proud of someone that was reflecting your business. I have watched you grow. I remember when you came to us and you said, I want to work. And we were like, okay. I remember saying to the team, and we say this all the time, and you may not be aware of this, but we always say how we want to pour into you and to grow you. We discuss all the time, Morgan has so much potential in so many different areas. So we are kind of unique in this office in the sense that we are strictly a health insurance agency. A lot of insurance agencies, they offer multiple lines, meaning they offer home, auto, general liability, workers' comp. They do health and life products, but that's not their key focus. We do not offer those programs currently. We do focus on the health. And so it's all things health. So tell me, or tell the audience actually, a little bit about the preparation, like the things you have to go through to become an agent. You've already got the people skills. You already have the experience in being a part of a team and participation and coming up with, different strategies throughout the various clubs because they all are unique to each other.
Right.
But talk about for us, how you felt when you decided I want to be a health and life agent. And just a funny note, we have 7 agents. Everyone in this office are licensed agents. Morgan is the only licensed health and life agent. So she actually excelled above me and everyone else in the office. And so anyway, we're very proud of that. But tell someone who may be listening, Morgan, like how did you feel during the process, and discuss what that process included and what it looked like.
So how I felt at the beginning was, I was like, I really want to know what's going on. I want to know what they're talking about. You would be in meetings, and sometimes you'd say, even a deductible. I was like, what is a deductible? What does that mean? So really, it came from a place of curiosity, wanting to grow. And I think a lot of people can understand that, like in the future, they want to grow in every way that they can. And so the process really was, I had to start it taking the court. So there's a class portion before you take your test. And so every opportunity that I wasn't working as a receptionist, answering the phone, I was learning in that class. I was taking it online, helping people on the side. And then it came time for my test, and I took it. And the first time I actually didn't pass, but I restudied and figured out what I needed to focus on, and I passed my second time around. Yeah. And I believe it was only a few weeks apart, but it was trial and error. It was learning what I needed to do to study, strategize, balance, work-life balance, and homework is something that I had to learn, because as a college student, that is something that I'm always trying to balance, and social life. But
Absolutely.
as someone who is pretty motivated in the aspect of my job, I love to help others, and being able to do both is kind of really cool to say that I'm a full-time college student and full-time insurance agent, and that's a cool quality that I like to say.
It's so awesome. It makes me so happy. Normally in roles such as yours, someone comes in and they're a lot older than you, or they may have years of work experience and with other companies, or in various, areas of a business. What's so unique and what's so amazing about you is you did come in and you said, hey, I kind of like this. I'm a little interested in this. What do I do? We explained you take there's a 40-hour
Yes.
pre-licensing course. You can actually complete that in about 4 to 5 days.
Yeah, I completed it pretty soon. It wasn't long at all. You do the pre-licensing course, you take your test, and then I came back, and I stayed as a receptionist for a while, but then I moved into my role here as in the dental and vision sales, and that was head first, jumped in.
Absolutely.
And I know probably not all there is to know. There, you can always learn more, but the amount that I know about dental and vision that I didn't even know there's a whole world to it. So that process is really cool.
So when you decided that you wanted to be a licensed health and life agent, did you realize at that time, because I'm going to go somewhere with this, did you realize there were so many different opportunities and so many ways you could utilize that license than what you knew?
Oh, I had no idea. To me, an insurance license meant, I just sold a certain kind of insurance. I didn't know there were different variations of it. I didn't know you could be in a certain department for it. I had no idea.
Right. And that's one of the things that I find so fascinating. I'm a lifelong learner. My background is education and healthcare, and I'm actually taking a class now to get an additional license myself.
Really?
And yes, and I'm so, I have to do it at night after I get home around 10 o'clock. I usually sit up and do 2 or 3 modules. And I'm taking my test on May 28th for my PNC license. And I love learning. And one of the things last night, and I took a picture of it with my cell phone because I was using my laptop. One of the things last night was in the beginning, and it's all general knowledge. So it doesn't matter what license you get. There's still general terminology in the insurance industry that describes the who, what, where, when, and how of an insurance agent, right? So I read that and I was like, yeah. I know all this. And so then I go to this next session or chapter that I really never focused. I mean, I knew it was there and I know it exists and we absolutely utilize it. It is a must in our business and in this office, but I never really focused on it. To the point and to the description that I read last night. And I took pictures. It's talking about the marketing department.
Oh, okay.
And it talks about, insurance is a sales-driven business. If we do not sell our products, we don't get paid, right? And we don't stay in business. And as time has evolved with technology, with social media, with, TikTok, with all of the things, podcasts like we do now, all of the nuances that have evolved since I got my original license in 1998. Now, I don't mean to tell them how old I am. I'm like something older than 29, but it has changed. And what's so awesome for me as a lifelong learner is that as things changed or as they change, you have to embrace instead of push back. And the things that it was listing in that chapter about, just in the marketing department alone, there are probably, I would say, 6 to 7 different job types or job
Wow.
titles that could be utilized in an insurance agency just in the marketing department.
Right.
That's not even talking about the agents
Yeah.
and how they can be, specialize. There are designations. There's, when you receive a designation, you get letters behind your name. There are like 7
Really?
insurance designations that all of us could get. You can get a degree in business and you can come into an insurance agency. And I think that, I'm not sure, but tell me what you're majoring in.
So it actually just changed, but that was for the longest time what I was going to do.
Yeah.
I just applied to, it's supervision and management is the
Okay.
degree I chose to go with.
Well,
But
good.
business is a really helpful role for insurance. But also I believe that this would be something that could help me even at this job because, I mean, there's a lot of room for growth here and I've seen that. And
Absolutely.
I mean, we just keep growing. So,
Absolutely.
I mean, eventually, maybe one day I can be a supervisor of some
Absolutely.
sort. But
I don't doubt that won't happen.
yes, and that program has a lot of business courses
Sure.
in it that will be a really good learning.
Right. Like a resource.
Yes, a good
they're
resource
good
for me.
tools. It's good knowledge.
Yes, it's really good
information
knowledge.
that you can take from your study and apply it into your everyday job.
And I was looking at the coursework for that actually yesterday, and there was a ton of stuff for professionalism and the business aspect of things that I will really be able to apply in the future.
That's the first time I'm hearing that. And I just want to say how happy I am. That makes me so happy because one of the things that we believe in here is growing from within. And you have such an advantage on the other team members because you are so young. I remember when you started taking the class, you weren't 18, you were 17.
Yes, I was.
But you had to wait until you turned 18 to take the state exam.
Correct.
So what's fun about that is, the insurance industry has been around forever and it's going to be around forever. Now, is it going to stay like it is now? Absolutely not. And it's foolish to even assume even the ACA is going to change. It changes all the time. It's a fluid industry, right? But we always will need insurance. It's not something that's going to go away.
Correct.
No matter what kind of insurance you have. It may tweak a little bit. They may add and take away, different things about it, but it's always going to be an industry. And so what's fascinating in the insurance industry is that it has a stigma from years past. Insurance agents used to go out and go door to door. They'd knock on doors and they'd go in and they would sell life insurance. They'd show up at the hospitals when babies were born and they would try to sell, life insurance policies to these new children. They would, as everybody is familiar with Joe Namath on TV and all of these things, these strategies that they've used. But I think that, the more we include all generations, the stronger we become. And the stronger the individuals, the customers become, because now they know, they understand, they're being taught, they're being drug along through this journey with us. And that's what we do here.
We educate.
We educate. In layman's terms, we drag people through the mud with us.
Correct.
We take you on the journey. We learn, you learn, and we all learn together.
Yes.
It's like Oprah. Everybody learns.
I was just explaining to a client who I just saw previous to this. I was like, sometimes I'm learning with you. I have to call and figure out just like you do. He was like, well, I'm so glad that you're here because that's what I come in for. I know nothing about it. I was like, well, we'll learn together. So
that's right.
It's funny that you said that. Absolutely.
And I'm 100% on. I completely advocate for on-the-job training. The thing where I was going earlier, back in my generation and definitely the generations before mine on back, when women started, coming into the workforce, right, back during World War II, they started women had to get out and they had to start working. They had to start making money. And there were all of these things. But at the time, women were either school teachers or nurses. That was it. And that tradition kind of carried over for years and for potentially 2 or 3 generations. And then when I was in high school, then it changed. We could be doctors, lawyers, nurses, beauticians, school teachers, or stay-at-home moms, and there's nothing wrong with any of those. But my point is, I will, in our generation, if you did not go to a traditional 4-year university and get a degree, a bachelor's or a master's or something, then, it was kind of looked at as, you weren't as educated, I should say, as someone who did follow the suit. And I'm going to be honest, I was not a traditional student at that time. At that time in my life, I was not. I went to college and I took classes, but I had no interest in it.
Right.
I was young. I was 18. I left home. I moved to Orlando and basically I lived it up. Now, did that come back later to bite me and kind of give me a hard time? Absolutely it did, because of the place that I wanted to go. But one thing that I learned through that whole time period, yes, education is important. And I went back when I was 42 and I got my bachelor's degree, and I thought that I had hit the pinnacle of my education career. But it was my last semester of my bachelor's degree. At 42, I was working a full-time job. I had 3 children. One of them was in college, trying to make it work. And I decided my last semester, I'd emailed one of my professors and he asked me if I was going to be in his master's class. And I was like, oh no, I'm not doing my master's degree. I don't need that. And he said to me, you may never use it, but you will always be proud if you get it.
True.
And I enrolled that day. I applied to grad school that day and I got in. And instead of graduating and saying, yay, I finally did it, I'm done with studying. No, I took on another 2.5 years of homework and thesis and research and all of the things that go into a master's degree. But I'm here to tell you right now, this business is who it is today. I am the leader and the entrepreneur and the business person and the boss that I am today, because of 2 things: experience and because of what I learned in my master's degree, because my degree is in career and technical education. So I have a passion, what we used to call VOTEC school, right?
Right.
They're going to VOTEC. But in all honesty, you can't really differentiate anymore between a 4-year degree and a VOTEC or career and technical, certificate.
Correct.
Insurance is unique in that same sense, is that I believe that there is a class that FSCJ offers for insurance, but I'm not sure what it is, and so to speak about it is probably out of sorts for me.
Right.
But you can take a 40-hour class like yourself, and you can jump feet first. From the moment you turn 18, if you have no desire to go to 4 years of university, you can start taking the class at 17.
Correct.
Once you turn 18, you can apply and take the test. And once you pass the test, you're qualified to be a licensed health agent or a licensed agent in the state of Florida. So I think what maybe people don't understand is that if you put your heart and soul into anything that you do, you can make just as much money as an insurance agent as some doctors.
Correct. You absolutely can.
And I know that people will say, there's no way. Well, I know people that went to hair school that make 6 figures. It's what you put into it. And so back to you not to ramble on, and I feel like I've been talking forever now, not to ramble on, but for you, when you came in, you were still functioning in a receptionist position. And then the day came and we approached you about the dental and vision.
Right.
What did you know about dental and vision?
I knew nothing. I knew absolutely nothing. And I was like, okay, it was just a new learning experience. And again, jumped in feet first and just went with it. I wrote my first policy assisted. I did. It was actually with Savannah. And we sat.
Who also knows nothing about dental.
She also knows nothing about dental
and what's
vision.
so funny is none of us know anything about. We didn't know
right, and now we do
about dental or vision insurance. But we had a need. We had people asking. So what does that mean?
We need to learn.
You better learn.
Yes. So I've sat through trainings. I've studied summary of benefits with the carriers that we offer, and honestly, like you said, the insurance world is always changing. So plans come and go. Carriers take some away. It's constantly changing. So it's something you have to be on top of. Who we're in network with is always changing.
Yep.
So it's just something that I kind of just jumped in and learned, and it's not doable. I think that's the right word. It's you're able to, as long as you are willing, anyone can do it.
So another cool thing too about you, Morgan, not only did you get your license at 18 and you've been functioning now as an agent, tell us how long, so I don't tell your age.
I believe I've worked here 3 years, but I feel like I've been an agent.
You were an agent at 18.
So a year, almost 2.
Okay. So I didn't want to say how old you are because she does not project to be the age that she is. Morgan has grown so much. One of the cool things that we recently had you do, you are now not only licensed in Florida, but you're also licensed where else?
In Georgia.
In Georgia. And so another cool thing about your role is now you can sell insurance in Florida and Georgia. And as soon as you're ready for other states, as the need arises, you can become licensed in those states as well. So thinking that you're stuck in Fernandina for the rest of your life at how many years old?
19.
19 years old. I don't want to say it. I wanted you to say it. But your birthday's coming up.
It is. It's actually next month.
Yeah, it's next month. So you're going to be 20. So the cool thing about it is, you're young and you're like, I just don't know if I want to do insurance in Fernandina the rest of my life. Well, you don't have to.
Right.
You can move. Even today, if we expanded or if you decided you wanted to move to Georgia, you could absolutely move there and sell insurance and never miss a beat of your occupation or your skill set. And I think that's really exciting.
It is. And
for us.
That's also what's really cool about having an insurance license. It's so flexible. You can do just about anything or go anywhere. I mean, obviously there's probably different rules for certain states, but as long as you're learning, it's flexible. And if you want to be flexible.
So tell our listeners, what is one of your favorite things that you've learned or that has happened? Like, what's the best part of doing insurance?
I would say the best part of doing insurance, no matter how corny it sounds, is the people. Here in the office, we're able to make genuine connections, have good conversation, and make friendships with the people. And also, when it comes to dental, you're helping people's confidence because that's their smile. It's the first thing people see. And sometimes that is a confidence booster or killer for people. So I'm able to be the person who helps them with that and help them understand and help them learn, like we said. So that's honestly one of my favorite parts about my role here.
That's awesome. What would you say is your least favorite thing? I mean, it can't be a perfect job.
Right.
Like, what's the least thing or least favorite thing that you have to do?
I would say, like we said, the insurance world is always changing, and I actually had it noted. I would say whenever they pull policies away and I have to call and say, hey, your policy's changing, and what can I do to help you? Which it's not the helping part. It's the, I feel like I'm right on top of it and it changes again. But just because I want to be the best at what I do and know all there is to know, but it's always changing and I can't control it all. So that's honestly the only downside to my job, I would say.
Yeah. I don't know if there's anything else that you want to share that maybe you thought of, because I know I told you we were going to do something different today. Is there anything that you want to share? Maybe there is a high school student that, for whatever reason, tuned into an insurance podcast.
Right.
Maybe there is, but you know what? More favorably, maybe there's a parent or not even, maybe there's someone listening that says, you know, I have a friend or I have a family member or my child is trying to find their place in a career. What is something that you would say to someone who may just be out there wandering around, like, what am I going to do with my life? What do I want to be? What would you say to them about being an insurance agent that might encourage them to seek out the opportunity?
Well, that's kind of exactly how I was before I got this job. It was always, what do you want to do? Where do you want to go? What college? And I was just like, I don't know. That was my answer for everything, was I don't know. And so for someone who feels that way, I would say, being an insurance agent, the course isn't hard. It's a very fast process. It gives you a lot of opportunity in a lot of different fields, like we discussed. So if you're somebody who's looking for something that's not the traditional school, not 4 years, not your bachelor's degree, it's a great opportunity to have. You're not stuck in one place, and you can learn. I mean, there's so many different options. You're not stuck with one decided career. And that for me was the biggest attraction to it, I would say, because I was just a receptionist, and getting my license opened so many doors for me in so many different ways that it can only benefit you. There's nothing harming you. You're not stuck. It's not, and not that this is a negative thing, but let's say I just went to school to be a teacher. That's I could be a different type of teacher in different ways, but I would only be a teacher. With my insurance license, I can be a teacher of insurance. I can do just about anything, and I would just say that it's flexible and it's worth it.
I would venture to say that a lot of people think that insurance only has, it's like an insurance office only has agents.
Right, and we definitely do not.
And we definitely do not. So I think I was thinking last night, and I came up with about 15 different job titles or professions that someone could be doing that would still integrate into an insurance agency without even having to become an insurance agent. Now, the benefit of that is that if we're all licensed, it's really safe for us as an agency. We don't want to get into the weeds with compliance issues and state regulations and things like that. But, just to name a few, I was thinking IT. There's marketing. You take marketing alone and you can break that down into 7 that I could name off the top of my head. There's marketing, there's supervision.
Yes.
As we grow, it truly makes my heart flutter that that's the direction you're going, because by the time we're able to grow with new agents or potential people that may want to dabble in the insurance industry, they'll have to be under the supervision or leadership of someone. And what greater person to be under than someone who knows how it feels to begin at the beginning.
Correct.
So I look forward to the future. I know that you will grow very well in our office. You have done, I can't say enough good things.
Thank you.
I was so proud Friday. I feel like a beaming mom, like, oh, look at my girl.
Thank you.
You did so well. And again, thank you so much for all you've done. If you need to talk to Morgan about dental or vision in Florida or Georgia. And what she also failed to tell you, she can also sell travel insurance.
Oh, yes, I can.
She can also sell life insurance and health insurance. So she is currently experimenting with the health industry. But if you have a need and you want to be serviced by someone who is just a go-getter and very professional and sweet, as we all know, Morgan's so sweet. Give Morgan a call. You can call her at our office at 904-326-3288, and her extension is 105. And you can also check her out on our website at www.nelsonandassociatesinsurance.com. We look forward to seeing you next time on Bridging the Gap. Thank you for joining us.